I think we're live. Just realized I don't have the lights turned on yet. See if I can get this brought up here for chat. Probably brought to you by Kellogg's. Oh, apparently brought to you by nobody. Could have swore I put monetization on, but you know, that's fine. You don't have to make $1 with everything you do in life. It's coffee making time. Almost said season. It's definitely coffee season. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be freeze your ass off season here in a second. I remember what the forecast for this week is. Like single digits for highs. Actual air. That's brutal. And nobody want to be hanging out in single digit high temperatures. Do I have yeah, that's enough. Here we go. We finally got some snow here. It's like kind of like, I guess, three snow events maybe. Plowed the driveway twice. Skipped one plowing because I knew it was going to snow again. Not a big fan of plowing snow. And I saw how cold it was going to be, and I looked at my firewood stack, and I thought to myself, well, that does not appear to be nearly enough firewood for single-digit highs. I have to turn another baseboard on. We usually get a patch of super cold weather where I gotta start cranking the old electric heat up. I still burn the firewood. Let's grab the water real quick, please. Oh, don't tap glass. And away we go. Perfection. And lunch. Alright. I'm not sure how this is actually going to work. I was going to try to the stream is so much different than it used to be because I'm using the iPad. So I'm always trying to remember how to do stuff now. Screen mirroring. Let's do that. Kitchen TV. I gotta type a code in? Are you kidding me? Well, I'll probably turn that down. That's gonna be loud. Well, I'll probably turn that down. Yeah. Alright, so now I got it set up. So we got the tablet doing the streaming because apparently it hooks to the internet better than my phone does, which, you know, not totally sure what that's all about, but that seems to be what it's all about. Got the laptop out so I can read the comments. That probably won't happen, which is in a sketchy spot, which I don't really like, but, you know, what are you going to do? I just going to put it over here. I really don't like my laptop anywhere near where, like, it can get destroyed with, like, liquids and shit stuff. So I will have to turn around, but I did figure out how to get it mirrored to the TV, so things are looking up. Things are looking up. Here we go. Got the... Now, I don't know how true that is or isn't, but that's today's cup. Let's cut ourselves a grapefruit. The grapefruits are getting a little experienced. I kind of felt like I was eating plenty of them, then I realized I wasn't eating as many as I thought, and now they're getting towards the end of their usefulness. We're gonna go grapefruit boats. Seems to be the least amount of work to eat them that way. This one's got a lot of seeds in it. What's up with that? The old seedy grapefruit. Now, I did hear once, when it comes to the old fruit of the grape, if you put salt on it, it's better. So I've always, if I add anything to my grapefruits, I've always, man, there's a million little seeds in this one. What's up with that? We have some sort of like freak of nature here? That's like the most amount of seeds. I'm even getting them all out. How's that going to work? I'm going to eat that many seeds? Is that going to happen? It's like proto seeds in the center of the little section there. Oh, we're gonna prep all this out. Is that my imagination? Yeah, there's all these, look at these little guys. All these little seeds there. We're gonna get rid of them. You out. You out. Whatever. Well, another week went by. Everybody survive. Everybody get enough Super Bowl. That was last week, wasn't it? I think I kind of forgot it was Super Bowl Sunday last stream. I didn't even mention it, I don't think. That's how much I watched the Super Bowl. That's how relative the Super Bowl is to, I don't know, at least my life. I'm not sure about everybody else's, but it's crazy to think how important that used to be for me and how absolutely useless it is now. I mean, when I say absolutely useless, I truly mean that. I mean, it's just like, not even sure what the point is anymore. For a while, it was like you watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, and like, I don't know. Maybe because like everything is commercials now. Like that just, for some reason, that just like infuriates me to think about doing something to watch the commercials. I mean, trust me, I watch a lot of commercials because that's just how life is. But like, to like take time that is, you know, you only have so much of it in life, and be like, I'm gonna do this so I can watch the commercials. It's like, oh my god, dude. Although some of them are pretty good. As I shit talk commercials, I laugh out loud and say, yeah, those are some pretty good commercials. Still got the berry blend here. Yeah, recap that. Not very many berries, but it's blended, so. Got the rationer juice. We're living in the new world. Tasty. Let's throw a little salt on these here banana boats. I'm not sure which direction is better. I got this like just enormous tripod because I'm worried about my tablet falling over. I started noticing there's people making videos now that, I don't know how to describe them politely, that are mocking other people's videos. Is that? I'm not sure if that might be a rotten spot there. Is that going to be like do I have a whole bad grapefruit? Come on now, don't be bad. That first one wasn't very good. I'm calling that questionable. We're going to exit stage left that. I'm not dealing with a potential rotten grapefruit. Although I have funky grapefruit flavor in my mouth right now. That's fun. One of the best ways to start your day. God damn. Sorry about that. Alright. Hopefully the coffee will be... No, that's terrible. me sad. Well, anyways, people are posting videos, and I like, trust me, I post videos, and I'm surprised people aren't making mock videos of my videos. But there's like a particular video where it's like, I don't know the context, I don't know where it came from. I saw it on the internet, and what the video was titled like something along the lines of me plating up my child's breakfast for. It was like a small toddler, and this person appeared to be the toddler's mother. And in this video, this individual, and you can't blame the kid. The kid is probably would be considered a victim in the situation. Like, it starts off with like a bag of powdered donuts, and then like all this crazy stuff. It's like, you're gonna feed that to your kid. Like, I can only imagine how the kid reacts to the amount of like just crazy, inappropriate child food that is put on this plate for this individual's child to eat. %. Well, that tamed the rotten grapefruit flavor. Perfect. 100% of everything was like a processed sugar food. Like the other day, I saw a video. It was of a guy. He's like plating up my toddler's breakfast, and it was obviously a mockery of that other video because he starts off by like dropping like 12 cookies, pouring like a cup of sugar on top, adding just all. I mean, it was insane. I mean, he's just pouring raw sugar, and like it ends with him cracking a Coca-Cola, putting it in a sippy cup. But it was like. It was obviously being hyperbolically, over the top, but it wasn't that far off. It's just like, I don't know. It kind of makes you wonder, is like, do some people just feed their kids sugar donuts? I mean, I eat sugar donuts, but like not all the time. I'm also not a child. Good luck to everybody. We're doing thin waffles today. Trying to figure out how much I'm going to do. I guess I'll just do the 2 cups, whatever. I always feel like if I do more, I won't eat them. If I do less, I wish I made more. Is that a thing? Does anybody else feel that way sometimes? Is that possible? Is that like Schrodinger's waffles? Just make too many, you wish you had. How many waffles is enough? Yeah, I don't know. We're talking about the Super Bowl. I didn't watch it because I don't watch that crap anymore, but like, it's hard to be alive on planet Earth when things like that are, obviously a manufactured event that's supposed to be something you watch. It's hard not to participate in the understanding that they're happening. So he's like, all right, next day, what's the highlights? Like, what did I miss? And apparently, maybe the highlight of the Super Bowl was Taylor Swift getting booed. Did anybody see that? Is that even a thing? We're booing people now? I mean, I guess you take the risk in life when you come out and make public statements that maybe you might get booed at some point in the future. I don't even know. 1.5 cups of water. Here we go. We got our Pyrex. This is microwavable, but don't put it on the stovetop. I mean, I don't even know anymore. I'm just along for the ride. I did a really good job of stoking the fireplace yesterday. So the house right now is a balmy 62 degrees, which for me is pretty good living. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to have that for too much longer. I was going to grab the old weather report. We'll do a recap of the Great Plains Midwest weather coming up here. Today our high is going to be 15, but I think that was probably at midnight if I had to guess. Let's see here. No, we'll get that at noon. Tomorrow's high is 3 degrees. Tuesday's high is 2 degrees. Wednesday's high is 4 degrees. We're going to have a 12 below Tuesday. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be one where you're like, oh man. I play video games with some people that live in my region, a little bit farther north than me. And then we also play with people that live in like very progressive urban areas. So between like important things in the game, we just chat, you know, like what's going on, what's it like there. And one of the things that's come out is like, if you live someplace where it gets really, really cold, you don't have as much people shitting on your sidewalk. That's the basic conclusion that we came to. Is if people take shits on your sidewalk, it's because the weather's too warm. And if you don't want to live where people shit on the sidewalk, you just got to move someplace where it's so cold that they can't do that. They'll just leave. It's like, they just leave. They're just like, nope, too cold, gotta go. Like, not a whole lot of homeless when it's 20 below zero. Just saying. When it gets 30 below zero, not a whole lot of homeless. Not saying you can't live in a tent when it's 20 below zero, but you're probably not going to be a homeless person. You're going to be a rich person in a fancy tent. But on some sort of adventure, I guess. I don't even know how that works. All right. I got to add a little oil to that. So I didn't turn the waffle maker on yet. Let's do that real quick. So yeah. Good times. What happened this week that was just so amazing that I just couldn't believe it? Oh, we were talking about commercials and shit. Have you heard about Jeeps? The Jeep vehicle company having pop-up ads on the fucking display in your car about your extended warranty? I make that up. That's a real thing. People are losing their minds over it. I realized I just washed that stir steak there. Where did I put it? It should be still clean enough to go back in the old... yeah. Jeeps, I think their official statement, because so many people got so outraged, was like, oh, that's a glitch. It's not supposed to... Because I think it was basically like every time they came to a stop, they got a pop-up ad. Reminding them they had only so many miles left to extend their warranty. And like... Something that like... I struggle with, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to this point. So, like, when it comes to, like, vehicles, not just vehicles, anything you buy, you always have a choice, right? You have a choice. Now, sometimes, based on budget, your choice is limited. But you can always be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And, like, one of the things I refuse to do, and I will always refuse to do, is I will never buy a car where the important controls over like climate control, like the heating and the cooling, I will never buy a car where the only way you can do that is through a touchscreen. I will never do that. I don't care if I gotta stop buying new cars, whatever. I will never do that because that's crazy. And a lot of these new cars, it's all through the touchscreen. And I think the Jeeps are like that, and now they're getting advertisements on their touchscreens, and it's like you can't turn it off. You can't be like, I'm just not going to do a touch screen. Like, it's kind of like, well, it's one of the reasons I haven't upgraded my TVs. I refuse to buy a TV where there's a microphone in the TV. I won't do that. I absolutely will not ever do that. And I guess if it gets to the point where the only TVs for sale have microphones in the TVs, I will never buy a TV. Because I know exactly how shit works. If it's got a microphone, it can listen to you. They used to put it in the remote controls. And when I bought, the last TV I bought, that was the thing that was available. And I was like, no, I'm not buying that. Like, I don't want a remote control on my TV. I don't need that feature. I have fingers. I can use the remote. I don't have to talk to my TV. I don't need any of that crap. And I think not enough people think about that when they buy stuff. I think people are mostly... I don't know how... That's what I assume it sounds like in most people's minds when they buy... I don't care... I don't care if they listen to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I carry a microphone in my pocket and my phone all day. I get that, but I'm aware of that, and I'm choosing to do that. I don't need my TV listening to me. I don't need that. There's a lot of things I don't need, and TV listening is one of them. What did I hear the other day? It just like made me mad. I didn't want to look and see if I was doing. Talking about Apple products with like Face ID, and like someone was like, "Dude, that thing's taking a picture of your face every 20 seconds," and people are like, "No, it's not true." And it's like, well, it's not taking a photograph; it's scanning your face. And like some guy came in with like an infrared, was like looking at the thing. And it's like, oh god, dude, it just makes me. Like, that stuff makes me so mad. And I don't even know if mine does it or not. It probably does. It's just like, why does everybody who tries to do anything have to be like a sociopath about it? Like, and why isn't there someone doing something where they can just do it and not be sociopathic about it? I mean, I understand why they have to be sociopaths, because like you can't stay in business. Like, yeah, I get it. Whatever. It's just the sad state of the world. I mean, it's never changed. It's never going to change. People think it's changing. People think it's different. I got news for you. It is not different. You think it's different? It's not. It is not different. I think my favorite thing about perception of the current situations that we live through is the idea that people think because they're living through it, it's different than it's always been. Like today is the peak. It's never going to get better. It's like, no. In 1,000 years, today will be 1,000 years old. Like, people seem not to realize that. Like, they just think today is it. And it really hits home when you start reading some ancient history. Like, you read about the Roman Empire. It's like, that was a long time ago. Those people ran the world. And they weren't living in huts. They lived in a city where they had, like, the Super Bowl. There was advertising. There was all the things we have now, except for, like, we got the modern amenities is the only thing that's different. But even the modern amenities we have now are going to be, like, arcane as shit as time goes by. Like, that's wild to think about. There's probably a term for it. I don't know what it is. Don't even really care, to be honest with you. Just a casual observation. So here's the syrup situation. I may or may not have refilled my syrup because I like glass, and that's glass. And I may or may not have had a plastic bottle of syrup. So we just went with the glass. I don't know what it is about glass. I like glass. Glass makes me happy. I like to hold glass. Makes you have to pay attention a little more. Can't just be a willy-nilly thing flopping around individual when you deal with glass. I know some people should not use glass just because they're not up to the task. It's too hard. Glass is hard. Whatever. Alright, well, let's talk about some crazy shit that happened this week. I'm trying to think, like, what's the thing that just made my what broke my brain the most this week? I think the thing that broke my brain the most this week was the revelation that only so many people that work for the federal government can retire in a certain amount of time due to the process of filing the paperwork. Did anybody else hear about this week? That made my brain hurt. The number of retirements is limited because the retirements are done on paper. That's not digital. It's not digitized. And it gets better. The paper has to be taken down into an old mine, because that's what they use as a storage facility. And, like, it's limited by how much you can move based on how fast you can get through the mine. It's like, what? Who's making these rules? Like, it's like they hired someone to make it as convoluted as possible, and that's the way they're... It's like, that can't be the way. There's no way. There's no way that's the way. Is that the way? How is that the way? That doesn't even make sense. But that's the way. It's another one of those things. Was like, you could write a book. Like, you could get a bunch of paper and start typing a story, And if you type the story exactly as some of this stuff is coming out, people would be like, oh, come on now. You got to make it a little believable. This has to be slightly believable. Because if I just made a story that said the number of people that can retire is based on how fast you can go up and down a mine shaft, you'd be like, well, what are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense. But that's what we're living in. I don't even know. I mean, talk about job security. You can figure out a situation where your job requires documents to go up and down a mine shaft, and as long as you can do it slow enough where you never get caught up, you got a job for life. You're not, no, yeah, well, we're behind. Why are we behind? Well, you know, the mine shaft elevator broke this week, so we're behind. Okay, we'll keep working at it. I mean, whatever. It's just like, then again, how is that real? I mean, I could see back when there was only paper and you had to put stuff someplace. Yes, that probably made perfect sense. It's like secure area, it's climate control. Ooh, we got a little. May have overdone the batter on that one a little bit there. But it's like at some point we entered the 21st century, I guess, didn't we? Like, I don't know, whatever. I can't comprehend it. Some of that stuff, I just can't comprehend it. It's incomprehensible. It's just like, I mean, there's all these cliches on the internet of like, you know, tell me you're guilty without telling me you're guilty type of thing. It's like, tell me you're in on something without telling me you're in on something. It's like, oh my God. Someone was saying that the current administration, the way that they're going about their auditing that they're doing, is the first thing they announced was a spending freeze. That was it. And they just sat back and listened. And the organizations that lost their shit the loudest within the federal government, well, they're the ones that are, the most corrupt, because they're the ones like, holy shit. And that's who they're looking into first. Is anybody aware of this? It's like how you handle a first grader. It's like those tactics that's exactly what's happening. It's like, who is screaming the loudest? And then other people are screaming, and it's like, I assume the next thing's going to be, who are we going to investigate as the fraud perpetrators? I assume you just go, who's screaming the loudest? Who is yelling the loudest right now? And it's probably the people that are benefiting from all this thievery, crime, corruption, and all that. I assume. I don't even know how else to understand it. It's wild. It's so wild. Then, like, I mean, I totally get there's people that like believe what the TV tells them. I get that. Trust me, I'm well aware of that. Far too many people, in my opinion, just wholesale sit back and enjoy what the television tells them, and then they get outraged. Oh, this is outrageous. I was sitting here drinking my Bud Light, and the TV told me this, and now I'm outraged. It's like, okay, well, you know, I can understand why you're outraged. That is outrageous. This is outrageous. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how it works. It used to be, I think, what is it? Orange Man bad? Now we're on to like Space Man bad? Rocket Man bad? Electric Car Man bad? I mean, it's just like, someone had made a comment to me the other day when I was on my doing my social stuff about how Rocket Man's going to steal everyone's information. I'm like, all right, fair enough. What's going on with this information? Like, they're stealing information. Okay. And it's one specific person stealing the information. It's the Rocket Man, the guy that makes the rockets. It's like, well, that's no good. We can't have the Rocket Man stealing information. So I started thinking about, like, all right, let's go through the process. Who's the person who is in possession of the information that we're stealing? What's that person's name? Well, nobody knows. How do they get into that position? how did the person with this information that can be stolen, how did they get that job? Were they elected? No, it's an unelected bureaucrat. Okay. So we currently have an unelected bureaucrats who have possession of information that Spaceman can steal. And Spaceman shouldn't be able to steal it because he's an unelected bureaucrat. And I'm like, all right, let's follow the logic some more. How much value is in the stolen information? Is it exponentially valuable? Is it the most valuable? Could you use this information to become the richest person on the planet Earth? Somehow I don't think the stealing of the information, quote unquote, could possibly make you the most wealthy person on the planet Earth. But somehow the person who is arguably the most wealthy person on the planet Earth is going to be stealing this quote unquote information because he's an unelected bureaucrat, but he's stealing it from unelected bureaucrats who are not the most wealthy people on the planet Earth, but have such high moral standards that they wouldn't ever do anything bad with your. I was just like, come on now. There's crazy and there's crazy. But then I realized there was just the TV was saying they're stealing your information. It's like, you guys remember when someone was going to come and grab everyone's pussy? You guys remember that? How's everybody's pussies doing? Everybody get grabbed? Because that was a big deal for a while. There was a lot of concern in the United States about the amount of pussies that were going to get grabbed. About 8 years ago. Anybody remember that? That was vital. There was people that were dressing up as cartoon pussies and marching in the street, concerned about that. Like, anybody remember? It's like, man, people need to just kind of like maybe relax on the on the television intake. I mean, I don't say don't stop. I stopped watching TV. I don't watch that shit anymore. But like, it's just wild. And so, like, all right, so they've already looked. These evil lookers have looked behind the curtain and they found some shit that's hard to argue. It's hard to argue that all of it's, like, appropriate, you know. There's been some accusations of misinformation about what the stuff was, and yeah, now it's going to happen, but, like, now that they found some of it, people are like, stop looking! Don't look anymore. And it's like, wait, what? What? If we only took a little tiny look, shouldn't we look farther? It turns out the answer is stop looking. It makes you wonder who doesn't want us looking? Why would we not want to look? Who's yelling the loudest not to look? Oh, hey, welcome to the stream. I just saw that you commented. Sorry. I mean, I just like, I try not to get worked up over anything, but it's just like you sit back as a casual observer and just like you watch the events that unfold, and it's like, I mean, we got people in my town that sit out on the sidewalk that don't have houses, that beg. You always hear stories about how, oh yeah, they're making tons of money. I'm sure that's the most lucrative thing in the world. I gotcha. I don't know what causes that. I don't know why people end up that way. I can only assume that a regular person that doesn't have something bad going on would not want to be that way. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not a solution person, but like, I just feel like most likely the solution, whatever it is, just costs money. There's only so much money. And it's like, why are we doing all this shit everywhere else? Like, I don't, like... I mean, yeah, I get it. The bad guys are taking over the world. I get it, you know. But it's just like, at some point, it's like, man. I mean, what's the opposite of the bad guys take over the world? The good guys take over the world? I mean, how does that work? And how do the bad guys feel about when the good guys take over the world? Well, like, what does their TV at their house say? If you're sitting at home and the TV's telling you the bad guys are trying to take over the world, and the people that live where the bad guys live have their TV on, what does their TV say? Does it also say the bad guys are taking over the world? Like, is everyone pointing fingers saying the bad guys are taking over the world? And everyone's like, well, we gotta stop. We can't let the bad guys take over. It's like, all right, well, what do we do? Pay more taxes. That'll solve it. That'll keep the bad guys from taking over the world. Everybody knows that's the solution. It's like, yowzer. I'm not saying there's not bad guys in the world. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely bad guys in the world. I mean, I think generally the bad guys are the guys who lose. Isn't that how it works? The beggars make more money than you think? Well, so, yeah, I mean, possibly, but like... I can only assume that, like anything in life, there's probably people who are better at begging than others. Like, I mean, whatever. Like, I've never heard of someone who, what could we say? Someone who, let's say, builds custom homes for a living. I've never heard of a person who builds custom homes for a living selling a house to a beggar. You know, how about if you sell cars for a living? Do beggars buy brand new cars? Maybe. And I have heard of the guy whose limousine takes him to the begging spot. I mean, I get that, but like, I've also seen the dudes with no teeth sitting there that are fucking drunk out of their mind. I don't think those dudes are like, you know, playing the stock market. I mean, I'm convinced that most people that are sitting on the street begging got some sort of mental problem that's being not treated. That's what I'm assuming. Not 100%. I get that. Not 100%. I think the homeless and the begging from when you grew up, whatever you are, like anybody, me, anybody, if you just say homeless and beggars when I grew up, that was different than homeless and beggars today. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. Because there's people that are homeless today just because they can't afford $3,000 in rent every month. There are homeless people who have 9-to-5 jobs. Did you guys know that? It's a real thing. It's a real thing now. There's homeless people that just work regular jobs. It is an actual thing in the United States of America. They just live in their car. Just living the dream in the car. There's also people that live in their car that choose to do that. I don't know how you go about that. It's like, it's like chicken egg thing. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first, what do they call it, van life? Did you live the van life because it was just too good living in your home? Or did you live the van life because you're like, dude, I'm just going to live in a goddamn van rather than pay this crazy rent every month? Like, I have no idea how it works. I mean, I also don't live in, like, the part of the world where you got to live in your van if you just want to save a few $100,000 a year. Hold on a second, I got to grab some half and half. Hold, please! I just saw a comment when I was walking out of the room. I mean, even in my town, which is like allegedly an affordable place to live, right? A lot of the rents are so crazy. It's like thousands and thousands of dollars for like apartments and shit. It's like, what? How do you... I don't even know. I don't understand how anything works. I mean, there was someone talking about, like, 'cause there's all this terrible news that goes on that you hear about on the news. What does it say? Oh, hey, Jeremy, welcome to the stream. They had some press conference that was talking about people that have had loved ones murdered or whatever by people who are not legally supposed to be in this country. They're talking about it. And, like, the one story that came up, I heard the mom talking about was like, And then I don't really know exactly what's going on, but like basically, what the mom of the girl that died, she was like 20 years old. She was like renting a room in a mobile home. Not renting a mobile home. She was renting a room. And someone else that was renting the other room was a person from another country. And the guy murdered her. And it's like, okay, that's so, for me, that's such an intense thing to think about. But then you think about it, it's like, well, I guess that's how you have to do it. Some of these I gotta cook a little lighter so they can be toasted again. That's gonna be that one. I officially nominate you as the uncooked as much waffle. Other thing, why is the first waffle always cooked the best? I don't understand. Why can't my second waffle ever come out as good as the first waffle? Okay, so we got 2 for the toaster. Is it a heat thing? What is it? Nobody knows. I mean, whatever. I just think it's getting challenging. The whole thing's getting challenging. I really don't know if, like, I mean, I guess I'm kind of one of them people that like sit back and laugh as like shit goes crazy. But like a valid point someone brought up is like, all right, so we're doing all this investigation into this fraud, government-wise. What is the result? Like, are there going to be charges against people? What happens to the money? Where does the money go? Is it going? Are people going to? Are we going to get checks, or are they just going to put it towards the debt? Or are they going to? What are they going to do? Like, how does? That's the one thing I don't know, and I don't know if there's an answer to that. I don't know if anybody knows. It's just like what. And then, like, in 4 years, does it just go right back to how it was? I'm trying not to be cynical, but, like, it's getting hard. What else is going on in the world? What did I hear today? There's, like, another thing that just broke my brain. So the Vice President of the United States made a speech over in Germany where he kind of... If you haven't seen that speech, it's pretty good if you're, like... from America and you believe in the Constitution. Definitely worth watching. Because he basically calls Europeans out as like, what is wrong with you people? Because like, he started saying some stuff out loud and I'm like, what? That can't be real. And one of the things he said that like, I'm just like, no way. He cited an example of a man who got arrested in the UK for silently praying within 150 meters of a clinic where they do health care for pregnant women. And the reason they knew he was silently praying is they said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm standing here silently praying. And he got arrested for that shit. Because that is a crime. And you think about that, it's like, well, that's pretty crazy. Well, this is where it gets even more crazy. So there are people who live in residences. I don't know if they're houses or apartments or whatever, but it's their residence, where they live. It's where their clothes are. It's where they make their meals. It's where they sleep at night. Their residences are within the 150-meter parameter from the health clinic, and they received letters from the government that said, you cannot silently pray in your house because you will be in violation of the law because you live within 150 feet or meters of this facility. Wrap your head around that. Now, granted, if you keep your mouth shut, no one will know what you're doing in silence. But it's the idea. It's like, what? That's another one of those things like, come on. That can't be real. That cannot be a real thing. No, that's 100% real. 100% real. Not made up. That's real. So like in the speech that J.D. Vance was giving, basically what he said is, what's the point of defending this collective group of countries if what you're defending is shit like that? What's the point of it all? Is basically what he was saying. And it's just like, wow, that's crazy. That's some crazy shit. Because, like, I mean, I'm not a big silent prayer, but, like, I'm not against people. Like, I Are you allowed to have your thoughts? Is that a thing? We're not, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, because it was like, the way the law was written, it was like, it was all about like, I don't even know how to, I really don't even understand it. It's like, basically, it's because if you're praying silently, and there's a person that's doing an action, and that person who's doing the action feels as though what you're doing, even if you're doing it silently in your head, could be construed as hateful or mean, that's a crime. No matter what it is that the person's doing it and you're praying about or whatever. But, you know, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening, dude? Like, that is the most batshit craziest. I mean, that's more than, is that, I mean, that's literally a thought crime. Like, I just, and it's just like, wow, dude. Like, wow. Wow. But then again, you know, I always have to remind myself, I don't live over there. I think a lot of people are confused how the whole thing works as far as like living in the United States of America versus someplace else. Because it kind of seems like everyone's the same. We're all the same. But I don't think everyone completely, and I shouldn't say that. I think a lot of people don't completely appreciate what it means to be a citizen of the United States of America and what that actually means versus being a citizen of anywhere else. I mean, a lot of people are subjects. They think they're citizens. They're actually subjects. They're subjects to a queen, to a monarch. And the rules of the game are different when you're a subject as opposed to a free citizen. And I don't think everyone appreciates that. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that shit too. Because a lot of people who are subjects, they don't want to think about life that way. They don't want to realize that like their whole existence is you're good to go, you got it great, until, and then you got a problem. Until you have a thought crime, right? It's just like, oh my God. And you can go, I mean, people can just say, well, just don't do that. Just don't have a thought crime, you'll be fine. It's like, well, Jesus Christ, man. Like, stop all the thinking. I mean, what happens when it really gets crazy is like, well, that person thinks you're thinking. I mean, he didn't admit, the guy that got arrested, he admitted to it. He admitted to the crime of thinking silently in his head. Now, he could have just shut his damn mouth and he'd have been good to go. But he just, I don't know, something compelled him that day to say what he was doing out loud. And I don't know the particulars or even really care. It's just like, the idea of it is just like, well, that's crazy. It's just like, I mean, maybe someone should just write a book about all this shit and call it like the most not fiction book in the history of the world. Because like thought crimes come into like speech crimes or word crimes. Like what can you say and what can't you say? You know, we just kind of we were teetering on the edge here in the United States about like whether we were going to go down the path of like if you say certain things out loud, whether or not that would be illegal or not, based on how it makes someone feel. Like we were right on we were teetering. We may still be, I don't really know. It was like, can you say a thing that hurts someone's feelings or offends them? I mean, there was places trying to pass laws that said you can't be offensive. Well, we got the First Amendment in the United States, but like they're, you know, it's pretty wild shit. So like, something that happened this week that I think is like it's a test to that to see how people react to it is so we went through as a culture just recently of like people saying ideas about themselves and requiring that other people agree with their ideas about themselves, otherwise that's a hate crime. Okay, is that fair enough to say that out loud? Certain things that may be not actually true about themselves, but they've declared themselves to have those feelings about themselves, blah, blah, blah. I think that's all been ended, officially, at least on the government scale. But I think what one of the things that happened recently is like, it's kind of, I mean, is it a troll? I don't know. It's maybe a test of the hypocrisy of the whole thing. It is the naming of the former Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. All right, so that's an official thing that's been done. So now there's people and organizations who refuse to participate in that. They say, we're not going to do that. We're not going to call the Gulf of America the Gulf of America. We're going to call it the Gulf of Mexico. Okay? I mean, trust me. I'm in the weeds on this one. But we just went through, and the example I would say is like maybe a person of one gender declaring that they're another gender. That's an example. And then wanting everyone to participate. It's like, well, what? I don't. How are we doing this? If we say it's a thing, it's a thing. I mean, I don't really even know anymore. What I do know is officially for the United States government, it's called the Gulf of America now. That is an official situation. Official. So if you report on that as a reporter and you call it the Gulf of Mexico, unless you say the former Gulf of Mexico, you would be reporting something that's inaccurate. That is not accurate anymore. Not saying 4 years is not going to go back, and then if they take it back to the Gulf of Mexico 4 years, if they change that, it would be inaccurate to call it the Gulf of America if they change it back to the Gulf of Mexico. Just being accurate as far as the federal government goes. Don't know if any of that's right or wrong as far as what it should be called, just the way that it is. If they change the name to the Gulf of Waffles at Elveshelves live stream, that would be the law. I mean, that would be the name of it officially through the government. Well, the Associated Press refuses to do that. They say, we're not doing that. We refuse. It's like, whatever. Do as you wish. Well, they're technically, since it's been changed on the governmental official level, and you report it as something that's not, that you're reporting fake news. That's not true. That is false information. Well, the White House has restricted the AP's access to the White House and the Air Force One because they're reporting fake news. Now, people are losing their minds over this shit. And it's like, well, I don't know. What's the rule? Are you allowed to say things that aren't true? Is that a true thing we can do now, or is it subjective, or is the rule whatever's appropriate? I don't really know anymore. I don't really know. I don't know how any of this is going to work. It's just like, I guess it's ironic. Is it ironic? Is that what the term is? Irony? Are we participating in some irony? It's just like, Jesus. Whatever. I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with the Gulf of America because that includes Mexico and all the Americas, because it's not the Gulf of the United States of America. You know, that's just me. Really don't care what they call it. I just think it's funny. We just went through a time where you had to participate in the you just had to participate. You just had to. And then now it's like it's optional. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Alright, I got a list of things that you should keep your eyes peeled when you hear people say this. Are you ready? If you hear someone say, studies suggest, or experts are saying, or scientists believe, or according to research, that is the telltale signs that you are about to get smoke shoved up your ass. Don't ever forget that. According to research. Okay. I mean, maybe a well-to-do homeless person has got it all figured out. Has anyone ever considered that? Like, maybe whoever that guy is has just got the whole world figured out. Ah! I dropped my waffle, but it landed like this, so the top half's still good. Damn it! Fumbled my waffle. I mean, sometimes I wonder what, like, whatever. I don't know what the point of anything is anymore. Or ever was. I think there's a bunch of make-believe rules that they try to convince everybody of, and it's been working pretty good for a while, but now the people are seeing behind the curtain. I mean, I'd be pretty upset if I was making like pretty good money stealing off the bottom half of some government contracts, I'd be pretty upset too. And one of the things that someone brought up the other day, and like the official news is reporting on this, is like the question of how do you make millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, as a government employee. So the news has to come out and defend this. Like the machine has to come out and defend it. Well, it's indefensible because there's no way to do that. The only way to make millions and millions of dollars is to make millions and millions of dollars. Right? So if you're not making millions of dollars, well, sorry, there's two ways. You either make it or you steal it. And if your job only allows you to make six figures, I mean, you're either a genius at investing, and if you were that big of a genius at investing, you wouldn't be doing anything other than investing. You'd be an investor, you'd be an investment broker guy. Your name would be Warren Buffett. But those people aren't that. They're just government employees. I believe the term is kickback. That's what's going on. It's crazy amounts of kickbacks. It's money out and then some money back. And I'm sure there's some sort of Loctite, ironclad legal loophole, right? It's just like, okay. There was a TV show called The Trailer Park Boys. And the whole point of the TV show is these guys live in a trailer and they just do stuff to like, they wanted the big score so they could retire. So they're always figuring out ways to do stuff that was straight up criminal, but they would create scenarios in their heads where they weren't doing crimes. So one of the most hilarious one was, if something's sitting at the curb, it's trash. So they would take children with them to go in the backyard, bring items from the backyard out, put them on the curb, count to 5, declare it trash, and put it in their car. Because the children from the trailer park couldn't be arrested for stealing because they're children, but then it's not stealing because they just put it on the curb. Well, it's trash now, and that's how they did it. And it's like that's how I feel like this whole thing going on with the catching of the government fraud and all that is like. I'm sure there's loophole laws that says, oh, you can write a contract to a government, then the government can just give it, or the entity that received the contract could give it back to you in the form of a consulting fee, or I'm sure there's something to that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no. It's like, we really wish you didn't know we were doing this, but turns out this is what we did, and here's why it's okay. Because this is hard to set up, we got to be we have to have consulting fees, and there's no cap on consulting fees. So you could give me, here's a $10 million contract, here's $100 million. It's just like, oh, okay, I got you. A lot of charitable organizations. If you're aware of this, the charitable organization, also known as a not-for-profit. Okay. If you think for a second that a not-for-profit isn't paying someone's mortgage, you don't understand how the world works. They just... It's like, oh, but it's not for profit. It's like, yeah, no, I get it. It's not for profit. Gotcha, 100%. It doesn't mean the people that are running the not-for-profit aren't making more money than you are. I promise you. They're being well compensated for their time. It is not easy to run a not-for-profit. Yeah. Or like a charity, if you will. A charity. Well, I'm pretty sure the guy running the charity is getting paid. I mean, I'm sure there's one or two out there where there's just a bunch of, good Samaritans out doing stuff out of the goodness of their heart for no reason at all. I'm 99% sure if you find an organization that's doing that, if you look hard enough, there's going to be somebody. There's going to be somebody making money off it. You might be able to sucker a few people to work for free, but there's going to be somebody, and they're not going to be at the bottom of the totem pole. They're going to be way up at the top of the totem pole. That's how it works. And for some reason, it's allowed. I don't know why. I'm not charging that shit. It just this makes me laugh to think about like a commercial in your car, because so a commercial on your TV is a thing. That's a thing now. They're selling TVs that just throw commercials up on the TV, but you're not watching television. It's just like it just pauses what you're doing and it gives you a commercial. Like if you're streaming something, it's just like, oh, hold on, here's a TV commercial. It's like, what? What is happening right now? It's like built in. So people are like, well, just don't use the smart feature on your TV. Use a box, like an Apple TV or a Roku. You won't get that. It's just the idea that that's like acceptable. That like you can buy a television, plug the power cord in, plug the internet into it, go to whatever your favorite streaming service is, and get interrupted by a commercial via your television. Not even the commercial via the streaming service. It was just like, what? That's mind-boggling. The other one I heard the other day is, so like there's people that are like, I don't want to watch that shit. I got plenty of money. Can I just give you more money and I don't have to watch commercials? So that they have streaming services now that have premium packages where you don't get the commercials. And they tried that and they were like, we still can't make enough money, so now you're getting commercials on premium commercial-free packages. I am not making that up at all. I read an article about it the other day. I believe it was Disney was doing it on the Disney Plus. Or the Disney whatever, where you got the premium, no commercials. Like, well, some stuff's got to have a commercial. It's like, okay, I gotcha. I mean, I'm starting to understand the value of a few dollars to not have to watch commercials just because there's only so many hours in a day. It's like Amazon Prime started doing that shit, started putting commercials on the streaming service, and it's like, and it was just like, we're just doing it, and everyone's like, okay, and it's like, now it's just a thing. You're just like, and like, I guess I kind of started getting used to it, and then when I bought my laptop, I got 3 months of Apple TV, and mind-blowingly enough, there are no commercials on Apple TV. I mean, there's previews for other content on Apple TV, which you can easily skip, but you can also like watch the preview. Like, oh, what's this all about? And you can kind of get an idea what another content is, another movie or a television show. But it's just like, how refreshing is it? It's like, man, I'm almost thinking I'm gonna have to get myself Apple TV because like, when it first came out, I had a free sample of it, and it sucked because it had just released. And then like COVID happened and all the production stopped, so there was no content on it. It was like there's nothing on it. Well, all that's changed. There's so much content on Apple TV that's blowing my mind. Like I'm a month and a half into my 3 months free thing, and I'm thinking, man, I'm not gonna be able to get through all this content. There's so many great shows and so well done. It's like, holy shit. It's mind-boggling. My mind is boggled. And there's no shitty commercials. I don't know. I don't even know how much Apple TV costs. Is it $10 a month? I have no idea. We're gonna Google this shit up right now and find out. I just know I had it when it first came out. It was useless. There was nothing on it. $10 a month. You know, I don't know. I don't even know what to think about anything anymore. Just like, I mean, as a content allegedly creator who gets revenue from commercials, I see the irony of me bitching about it. But like on YouTube, you can pay for YouTube Premium, and you don't get commercials, and I get a cut of that. And I think that's okay. I think content that you are aware has a commercial is okay, but when they start adding it to shit, and then it just becomes the norm, like they change the rules midstream, it's just like, what the shit are they? It doesn't even make sense. Like, I mean, it makes sense, but like, I don't. Ooh, that one turned out good. I'm eating that one. Since I dropped one on the floor, let's see if I can drop this one on the floor too, like a complete noob. Epic fail. I mean, I'll probably eat that one that fell on the floor anyways, off camera. Whatever. My butter situation is getting down to the point where there is no more butter. God damn it. Hold please. I'm gonna go to the other room, get some more butter. No! Yeah, that sucks. God damn it. Oh, it's all frozen. Well, I guess I'm not eating. I don't have any non-frozen butter. All my butter's frozen, so I'm going to be not eating any more waffles. I suppose I set that right in the... Yep. I set that in the old syrup pile there. That's perfect. Shit. Well, sometimes in life, you freeze your butter and you forget to defrost some. That's life. That's what makes life so much fun. I mean, yeah. Good luck. Just gonna eat some waffles. I mean, what else? What's the options? Which are alternatives? Get mad about it. Have a protest. It's like you're starting to wonder, like, are we going to have less protests now that the money's been shut off? Anyone else noticing anything like that along those lines? Like, one of the things that might come out from all this, like, crazy, like, money skimming whatever, is like the reality of what everyone thinks is reality is going to come to light where it's all manufactured. Like, basically everything that's happening that gets any sort of traction is because it's designed to happen. Like, that's the thing that's coming out about all this craziness. It's like all these organic events that are, oh, it's just because they're outright. It's like, no. Because the organic events are getting shut down and getting throttled and getting squashed and aren't being allowed to happen. And the inorganic stuff's being multiplied and pushed so that the regular people will either participate, think it's organic, or agree with it. And it's like, I think the truth of that's going to start coming out a little bit more due to the fact that, like, a lot of this allegedly organic events aren't going to happen because there's no money to pay for it. Like, that's, oh man. And as I say that, you might think to yourself, oh, you're crazy. That's crazy. It's like, no. That's how it works, because it's called soft influence peddling. That's what they're doing. And overseas, when they stop doing it overseas, they're doing it here now. Mainly because no one watches the regular news anymore. Turn shit around. Oh, look at my habits. It's pretty wild to think about, because I think there's a pretty good chance a lot of that stuff's not legal, but, I'm not a legal scholar. Whatever. green sweatshirt on. Oldie but a goodie. I mean, whatever. What are you going to do? I watched a video this morning that came up on my stream. It was about decluttering your life. And I'm like, oh man, I could probably benefit from some advice. I have some clutter. When I watched this video, I'm thinking, that dude must just make so much money where nothing matters to him. Like, what was the piece of advice? If it costs less than $20, throw it away. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, must not have to worry about anything in life. If everything less than $20, if you haven't used it in 2 minutes, throw it away. You just buy another one when you need it. It's like, my God, what is that like? Maybe someday I would love to get to the point where I could just throw everything away that was worth less than $20, and if I needed another one, I just go buy another one. And when I'm done using it, just throw that shit away, just so I can get rid of the clutter. I'm thinking, is that even, I mean, I'm trying to think who's that advice for? A multi-millionaire? But if you're a multi-millionaire, you probably got a big enough house where you can just put your shit. So it's like, is that advice for someone in a small house? Well, if you're living in a small house, you ain't got an extra $20 to be throwing shit away. It's like, I don't even know. Shit's strange. Super strange. Just throw it away. And I threw something away once, and I needed it again later, and I was all upset about it. Is that enough coffee to like put a little more in my cup? I thought about making like 3 cups today, but how much is that? It's like a quarter cup. How's that gonna work? Not very well. You can stare at my wall there while I add a little tiny bit of sugar to this. Trying to get the proportions just right. I mean, just throw it away. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. How many times do you have to throw a $20 item away and rebuy it before you've gone through your life savings? I don't know. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I was going to talk about today? I didn't make a list. There's more. I just you wake up every morning and you read the news and your brain just hurts. Oh, I kind of forgot I was cooking a waffle too. That's fucked. Oh, God. Unplug. That's a good one for the floor. Oh, it turned out perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I hauled firewood yesterday, running kindling. I do have some good content coming up. I've been contacted by a few companies, manufacturers, for product reviews. I got three new manufacturers on the docket. One sent an item that was kind of weird. And contactor was like, you might want to resend that. We'll see how it goes. Then after the more I looked at it, I realized, well, maybe there was nothing wrong with it. It was just the way it looked. Like a zipper on it. It may just be the way they make them. And then another one coming. It's all stuff for my side-by-side, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, there are three completely different companies, so that could be fun. The one company wanted me to send me something that I couldn't use. I didn't have a machine that it fit, and I couldn't quite make them understand that, which was challenging. But they definitely wanted to partner up, so they found another item that I could use, and they're sending that instead. And I'm like, well, yeah, that works. You send me whatever you want, I guess, but I don't know. I'm just looking around at everything that's worth less than $20. I think, should I just throw it all away? Just throw it all away. Just buy another one when I need it. Eee. Like, gone. Gone, 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 gone. Gone, 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 like, just 86 at all. And just go buy new. Oh man, whatever. All right, I went way too long. I don't even know what I talked about today. It's just like, I guess it's people that are getting upset over shit, and it's like, I don't understand. I can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're definitely filling your pockets with cash, stealing from the U.S. taxpayer, I would be mad as hell too. I would be freaking the hell out that my cash cow. But if you're not benefiting, like, why would you be like? It doesn't even make sense to be like even remotely like, what's going on here? It'd be like, I mean, the correct answer is fuck those people. Fuck anybody who's stealing. That is not like, what is happening? Oh man. USAID, there you go. Here's the bonus round, kids. Does anybody even know what USAID stands for? It's a acronym. USAID. Anybody? Anybody know what it means? It isn't aid, like we're sending aid. That's not what it means. I believe it's the United States Agency of International Development. It's not aid, though. And when they show a picture of a small child that needs to have a meal, it's not that kind of an aid organization. I don't know if everyone realizes that. I'm sure it's good money if you can, or good work. What do they call it? Good work if you can get it, I guess. Whatever. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Let us in. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. When's the next live stream? Probably next Sunday. I try to do one every Sunday. Like, I was going to go to just, like, me stand in front of the camera, but then, like, I want to eat a fancy breakfast on Sunday. I do it every Sunday, and I'm like, I might as well do it, because, like, when I did the stream where I just showed myself, I had to wake up, make my fancy breakfast like I do, and then do a stream, and it was like, Christ, half the day was gone. So, like, I just went back to making breakfast, because, like, something I'm going to do anyways. I don't know. I mean, it's not, I'm not getting rich doing this at all. But, you know, some people seem to enjoy it. I have no idea how it works. I mean, I will live on the internet forever. Forever. My presence on the internet might be a guy that makes breakfast. It's like, I don't know who this guy is who makes breakfast, though. He seems to eat the same thing. Waffles or eggs or pancakes or French toast. I mean, I need to mix it up. I need to make breakfast pizza is what I should do. I haven't done it forever. I need to get the breakfast ingredients and make breakfast pizza on a live stream. That would be epic. I'm trying to figure out how I would cook it, though. Get a small pan or something. Whatever. Alright, 79 minutes. That's way too long. Did I get new tools for the garage? This week I got... Only thing I got this week was that, it's a bag. I got a bag, a storage bag for the side-by-side. But the zipper was weird, and I contacted him. I was like, this zipper looks weird. And I started doing the unboxing. I unboxed it, pulled it out of the thing. I was like, what the hell? This doesn't look right. So I stopped, because I was like, well, something's wrong with it. But then the more I looked at it, it's just like, because it looked like the zipper had popped open, but it was also like, it's only a single zipper. So it's like, it's kind of I assume it's the way the zipper is put together when they sew it, but I don't know. So like part of me just made me not be able to like see reality correctly. I contacted. I was like, I started it. I stopped it. I don't know if that's what you guys want. It looks kind of weird. And they're like, we'll just send you another one, and then like I may have to explain. Who performed the halftime show? I have no idea. I don't know anything about that, man. Like, I didn't watch. I don't care. I read some reviews. I heard it was like some mumble rap or something. I'm not into mumble rap. Like, I don't know. I know there's people who love it. Everybody can be into what they like. I can't. I just don't do that. I don't like a lot of stuff. So I don't participate in stuff I don't like, but I don't want to stop others. I mean, if that's what you like, by all means, you should get in on some of that. I think music in general it's so much different than it used to be, because music is different because of the way it's not only consumed or also how it's attained. So like, music now is like you have access to all the music all the time at any moment. Sorry, my beard's crooked. Back in the day, like last century, the kind of music you listened to, not 100%, but slightly kind of determined the kind of person that you were and the culture that you were in musically. Because you had to like buy an album, and then like you would go to a concert, and the people that were at the concert had also bought the album. And at some point you could copy the album, so it kind of changed a little bit. You used to have to go to the store, and then like you meet people at the store, you talk about stuff, and now it's like, oh, you just have everything. And I'm not saying you can't be into one type of music, but like it's all available at all times for everybody at any moment. It's just like, it used to be more, you had to find out about stuff. When you watched MTV, you had to wait for your song that you liked to come on. Now, if you want to watch the video, you just watch it 17 times in a row. Just like over and over and over. It's like that with everything. Where like, even like movies and videos, it used to not be that way. You just didn't have it at your fingertips at any moment. You just, when you wanted to watch Friends, you had to be in front of the TV on Thursday. Otherwise, you missed Friends. There was not. If you wanted to talk about that episode of Friends during the week, you had to sit at home and watch it, or go to your friend's house, get together and watch it. Well, now, if a new show comes out, I mean, I guess there is like new shows, but like, I don't think it's like it used to be. Is that weird? Am I like an old person? Ain't like it used to be! That's not like it used to be! Well, it's really not like it used to be. Like it used to be a lot different. Now it's a little different. I mean, ain't like it used to be. Because now it's like, it's far more common for people to have one or the other, or maybe a couple streaming services, as opposed to everybody had television. Everybody. It was free. Free! But then there was cable and there was subscription, but there was only a couple subscriptions, like HBO or Cinemax. So if you just, now it's everything subscription. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, you can have you can have them all. You can get them all. There's probably somebody who does, I guess, but like, I mean, I'm starting to think about going to like a thing where like, you just do one for like 3 months, and then you watch all the new shit, and then you just cancel and just do something. Because like, there's so much content. Like, there's so much to watch. I mean, Christ, I'm making content. I just burned up 84 minutes of whoever's watched this whole stream. There's only 24 hours in a day. If you watch this whole stream, you just waste a whole hour of your life. I mean, I hope you got your money's worth. Hopefully you're doing something else while you're watching this. I mean, it's a podcast. Maybe you could listen to it while you're vacuuming the floor or something. I have no idea. I don't know. And what's crazy is that's just how it is now. What's it going to be like? Can you make breakfast pizza live stream? Yeah, I want to do that. I definitely want to do that. The breakfast pizza has to be baked, and my oven isn't really in the oven part doesn't work like it should, potentially. I mean, I could probably do it. I mean, right now it's storing my pots and pans. That's the main thing. I started storing my pots and pans in my oven. That's like, I just got so used to cooking in an air fryer and in a toaster oven. I'll figure something out. Yeah, the breakfast pizza. All right, next Sunday, breakfast pizza. It's happening. I'll try. I gotta get the ingredients. I'm trying to think of the one that I like so much. It's like the sausage, egg. Well, it's eggs. It's probably not gonna happen. Eggs are too expensive. They cost $1,000. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. 85 minutes. I'm done. Peace. Thanks for watching. If you watch the whole thing, you deserve something more than I can give you. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you on the next one. Stay safe. Stay warm. Try not to let the news make you get mad at Spaceman or whoever you're like. This is ridiculous. Spaceman bad. Whatever.